When an Aiden Ross says there are two genders, it's a culturally bold statement only when...
No, it's a scientific and nonsense, and he's just saying it to be edgy, and it's not even edgy. Can't even do edgy right anymore.
The new religion is climate change and being gay.
Yes. Yes. It's true. It's true. He did get us. That is what the left wants. We want to end climate change and be gay. Hey, you probably know Sneako as this, like, you know, one-time pretty centrist YouTuber, maybe a little center-left leaning, who has recently gone on a Andrew Tate scale of red pill, MGTOW, you know, kind of fashy shit. It's been sad to see, obviously, but also deeply embarrassing for him because, you know, throughout this whole process, he's also been exposed as someone who's trying to pick up 14-year-olds. Yeah, he got caught on camera trying to pick up a 14-year-old. Also, he has stated on camera that Cuties is one of his favorite films. So, Sneako, not a great guy, trying to really basically copy Andrew Tate in every way, shape, and form. Like he's got his own Sneako style courses. He's got his own Sneako style fucking MLM, oriented men's fucking empowerment course. A lot of crypto courses as well. All that kind of shit. He's really pushing the whole fucking like I've become super religious and I realize that you know the fundamentalism of what is a man and what is a woman is so essential. All that kind of shit. He's posting tons of anti-LGBTQ plus stuff all the time, usually getting ripped up on it, right? You know, ban porn on Twitter, the KKK is better than LGBT, that kind of shit. Bin Laden is better than Joe Biden. Pride Month is gay, edgy, lol. And now he's got, I assume this is a Twitter exclusive show called How I Learned to Love the Unabomber. Okay.
Eventually, woke people will realize their entire ideology was invented by billionaire Satanists to keep them depressed and poor.
Like, you know, it's unfortunate because you do have, I'm sure, a particular set of skills, right? Like a person like Sneako, you get to be as famous as Sneako is by, there's something about you, there's an entertainment factor, whatever it is, you've tapped into a large set of people who are like, yeah, I want to watch this guy, I like his vibe, let's see it. So there's that. So you got some skills for sure. But to see you fucking transfer them all into something like this, where it's just like, yeah, so billionaire, pedophile, Jewish, Satanists, cabals, queers run the world and program us to be woke.
Unfortunately, the leftist virus is infecting even the Arab world. But here in Morocco, you won't see their flag being ripped down and replaced with rainbows. To understand the fall of the West, you must go east. In the East, people are united by God. You feel a very important emotion that's ignored in
I guess it is kind of biblical to try and pick up 14-year-olds then, right? So that you may know them.
Industrial society. Shame. Shame is a good thing. It prevents people from stealing and performing drag queen story hour.
The two biggest crimes known to society. Well, you know, back in the day we used to have shame and then people didn't steal at all. There was zero stealing. And then we lost our shame and then stealing started up. And then also drag queens around the same time. I think that's history. Yeah.
It lingers in the back of the mind, forcing you to be considerate and respectful. It was actually all the way far east in Japan where I first read the Unabomber Manifesto. If you've seen this police...
Wait, sorry, this is unironic? That wasn't clickbait? You're actually doing a segment on fucking how the Unabomber's based?
...sketch before, you might know Ted Kaczynski as the man who mailed bombs to university professors and scientists. He killed 3 people and fatally injured 24 more. Shame. This terrible person lived off the grid in the woods of Montana for 2 decades in complete solitude. All he did was feed off the land and make bombs in his cabin. The most extreme example of incel rage. But like almost all serial killers,
no, that's not why he was doing what he was doing. That wasn't his reason. He didn't deep down believe that he was owed sex by women and that women are keeping sex from him and therefore that they are evil because of it. That's incel ideology, and that's not what was. We know what the Unabomber believed because he had a manifesto that you claimed to read like 25 seconds before.
If you dig a little deeper, you find the feds. The Unabomber had a genius IQ of 168 and was admitted to Harvard at 16, where the CIA conducted a mind control experiment called MK Ultra. For 2 years, they fed teenage Ted psychedelic drugs and brainwashed.
You are combining different things. But now they're all fused together. Hey, by the way, you know that there are people that can have a variety of mental health issues, and those mental health issues can manifest themselves in a variety of ways. And while people can be, yes, unbelievably intelligent in one capacity, in this case, if someone happens to be a brilliant mathematician, for example, yes, that is something someone can be, while at the same time perhaps having delusions or paranoia about the world around them simultaneously.
They strapped him to electroshock machines and interrogated him behind a two-way mirror. Sitting there under a bright light and a camera, he would explain his worldview so federal agents and scientific experts could humiliate him for coming up with ideas so retarded. The CIA very deliberately picked
I like how serious this is supposed to be, too. This is supposed to be like for your base, right? So it's just like, okay, I need to tell all of you about the real world and how it is, okay? This is how the entire world is. Basically, we used to have a thing called shame, and when we had shame, it brought us closer to God, and no one stealed, and there was no such thing as drag queens. Then we lost shame, okay, bros? When we lost shame, and then we fell away from God, drag queens started to appear. At which point, I gotta tell you why I actually love the Unabomber. All right, now hear me out. He did bad things, yes, but if we are to look at it from a different angle, MK Ultra, CIA, let's think about it.
The most vulnerable and bright minds to discover the best way to destroy them. What makes you think they stopped? Technology has only exponentially improved since 1958 when Ted became the Unabomber. Imagine what the CIA is capable of now. Stories like these make you reconsider why the CIA are on Discord calls 1 week before a civilian becomes a domestic terrorist. How much of your worldview is your own, and how much of it is really part of an elite, sinister psychological operation?
Oh my god. It's just like, it's just nonstop fucking, let's just feed you a whole bunch of fucking buzzwords. Hey, bro, you ever thought about this? You ever thought about maybe how you're asleep? How the real world, like you have to awaken yourself from a dream, as it were, to be able to understand how we're all programmed, how we're all controlled by things around us beyond our control. You ever think about that, bro? Huh? Ever think about how you could be in a psychological operation right now, bro, and not even know it? Well, that's why you got to subscribe to me. And then you also got to buy my course. If you buy my course, I can unlock, let's not call it the Matrix, the Splatrix. You're trapped inside the Splatrix right now. So we need to break you free. You need to have the Mauve pill. So if you take the Mauve pill, trust me, I'm not infringing on any copyright here. These are original ideas. That'll wake you up to the way the world really is. But if you take this little, let's just say golden piss pill, then you'll remain in the Splatrix, and then no one will ever escape. Yeah, so that's your choice, bro. If you want to break free, that's it. The reason why we know MK Ultra exists is because it didn't work. Yes, I mean, I'm not trying to deny that he wasn't experimented upon, right? Like, he was part of a psychological study. In his second year at Harvard, Kaczynski participated in a study described by author Alston Chase as a purposely brutalizing psychological experiment led by Harvard psychologist Henry Murray. Subjects were told they would debate personal philosophy with a fellow student who were asked to write essays detailing their personal beliefs and aspirations. The essays were given to anonymous individuals who would then confront and belittle the subject in what Murray himself called vehement, sweeping, and personally abusive attacks, using the context of the essays as ammunition. Electrodes monitored the subject's psychological reactions. These encounters were filmed, and the subject's expressions of anger and rage were later played back to them repeatedly. The experiment lasted 3 years, someone verbally abusing and humiliating Kaczynski each week. Kaczynski spent 200 hours as a part of that study. I am in no way going to say that that didn't affect him, but not in the way you think. This is not as if he was suddenly through this really brutal, and I would say almost torturous fucking program for hours and hours and hours and years of going through this to monitor the results, not affected by it somehow. Sure, it definitely would have, I would say, just broadly speaking, net negative effects on your mental health. You know, if you had to go through something like this, positive outcomes I would not expect to be the first thing. All that being said, that doesn't mean that he was programmed by the CIA to suddenly promote, some kind of MK Ultra program. Kaczynski's lawyers later attributed his hostility towards mind control techniques to his participation in Murray's study. During the Second World War, Murray had been with the Office of Strategic Services. He was conducted psychological experiences. Some sources have suggested that Murray's experiment were also part of Project MK Ultra, the CIA's program to research into mind control. Chase and others have also suggested that this experience may have motivated Kaczynski's criminal activities. Kaczynski stated he resented Murray and his co-workers primarily because of the invasion of privacy he perceived as a result of their experiments. Nonetheless, he said he was quite confident the experiences with Professor Murray had no significant effect on the course of his life. Like, you could make an argument that, yes, that may have increased his paranoia, but I would say that this isn't a single factor in towards what eventually drove him to his acts of extreme violence.
I've been live streaming for 1 year now, and in this time, Western culture has shifted to reflect the worldview of the biggest streamers. Ownership of the zeitgeist was handed from legacy media and late night talk shows to gamers and gamblers. In this time, amongst the talking head degenerates that are now signing $100 million contracts, I began to understand the Unabomber. It's ironic how the same federal agents that brainwashed Ted.
This is not good. I don't mean technically. Yes, no, it's terrible. It's from a technical standpoint, it's absolute trash. I mean, it's not good as in where his philosophy is heading, to be totally honest with you. There's like some little crumbs of truth all over the place, right? There's obviously a massive shift towards legacy media, towards digital media, and that shift has been very palpable in a lot of different industries. And you can see which ones have evolved and which ones have adapted and which ones are following and lagging behind. There's certainly something to be said about the rise of internet celebrities, yes, and the detachment that maybe mainstream celebrity culture has from internet celebrity culture. You can see that look no further than any time PewDiePie goes on a late night talk show host, and everyone's like, who is this little weirdo, you know? And like, you know, PewDiePie is at a gamer conference. It's like, oh my god, I would do anything to be within 20 feet of you, kind of shit. And yes, there are massive contracts being signed by really big streamers. I think a lot of this might be a little bit diluted or perverted, if you will, by the very act that you are directly involved with a lot of these same circuits, right? The cryptocurrency gambling streamers, the cryptocurrency gambling promoters signing on to the free speech platform that is Kick, aka this is just a casino promotion vehicle. That's what it is. It's a marketing tool for stake.com cryptocurrency gambling. So yeah, they have deep pockets. Casinos do. Casinos have very deep pockets. And I guess, yes, you are also right. Instead of hiring Celine Dion, they want XQC. So that is also correct. Outside of that, I don't know why that made you love the Unabomber.
Could never catch him. It took the FBI 20 years and $50 million before the Unabomber essentially turned himself in, demanding they publish his manifesto, Industrial Society and Its Future, which eerily predicts just how much technology will control people to this day. A couple of decades ago, leftist professors were vigorous proponents of academic freedom, but today, they have shown themselves ready to take away everyone else's academic freedom.
Nose brother recognized the shit handwriting. Yeah, so I was hoping there'd maybe be a little bit more to that, but yeah, if you don't know the story already, he did end up publishing his manifesto, and the New York Times agreed, obviously under duress, and it was through reading his writing that his own brother recognized that this was, in fact, who he was, and was like, I think I know this guy, FBI, I'm pretty sure this is my brother. I've seen this kind of, let's just say, ideas before.
This is political correctness. The same will happen with leftists and technology. They will use it to oppress everyone else if they ever get it under their own control. The Unabomber Manifesto was published in 19...
Like, what no theory does to a motherfucker. When your worldview is conspiracy theories and fucking memes, then yes, this would all make sense to you. It's like, yeah, if the left gets power, they will control the social media and they will turn it into politically correct woke ideology in order to take us further away from God. And you're like... actually, we live under capitalism, and so a lot of these companies work under capitalist models. Some of them are publicly traded, so they obviously have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders, and they want to turn as much profit as possible, and they are in direct competition with each other, and because a lot of them have dominated and eaten up any of the competition, that yes, they do have pretty strong monopolies in their respective fields, and that is a problem that yes, anyone who is a critique of capitalist would tell you is a problem, and be like, yes, I agree with you. There's a huge discrepancy between the owning class and the working class. But that doesn't mean that there's a massive conspiracy to program us and keep us in display tricks.
95, when the internet was still dial-up. 3 decades before the Hassanabis could stream from a mansion pretending to be a communist. Many leftists...
Fucking mic drop. I dropped a nuke. Eat it, Hassan. Bodied.
Have an intense identification with the problems of groups that have an image of being weak, defeated...
You fucking racist ass racist. Holy shit. Sexist, racist, like one after the other. That have a fucking tendency to act weak. Bruh. My experience, especially dealing with a lot of these fucking MGTOW red pill types, is that I have not met more insecure men in my fucking life than dudes who have to sell the idea of masculinity to other dudes. It's like I've never even IRL, when you meet fucking people who are just craven cowards, they don't have this kind of fucking weird arrogance where it's just like, yeah, well, I mean, women are weak. They try to manipulate us with their pussies. Pussies are gross, by the way. They're just like gooey, weird, fucking gross things that I never want to get around. But either way, the masculine man does smash as much as possible while closing their eyes and just hoping it gets over quickly. And basically that's why they're weak, and we have to dominate them. So by my course, defeated. No, indigenous people are still around. Yeah, no. That's just racism. This is just racism. It's just racism.
Repellent or
repellent, bro. I'm so straight, bro. I'm so straight that obviously the homos, they all want to touch me, but guess what? I repel them. I repel them, bro, with my straightness, you know, because I'm so fucking straight, bro.
otherwise inferior.
What a fucking bigot. Holy fuck. Man, it never used to be like this. This is what, like, going full Andrew Tate does to you, by the way. Like, you know, Sneako, I was never a fan of Sneako, and even his fucking centrist shit, it's kind of like, he's on the street, he's asking people questions, but he's not exactly coming at it from a right-wing perspective. He's kind of like, I just want to have a conversation with you, and, it's kind of seeing, like, the more stuff I do in the street, and the more times that I talk to women who are physically attractive, generally speaking, it seems there's more people popping off in my comments being like, oh, she's a bitch, bro. Oh, yeah, she's a slut. Oh, what a fucking whore, bro. Don't talk to her, bro. She's just trying to fucking manipulate you, bro. And you're like, whoa, a lot of you are watching my videos now. Cool. The numbers are going up. Cool. Maybe I should keep doing these things. Hey, let's have more conversations on the street and figure out what we find out. And then you start befriending people, fucking like Aiden Ross, Nick Fuentes, fucking Andrew Tate. Was not a long time. Like, he was already moving into this fucking anti-Semitic conspiracy stuff. So, you know, all he needed was Nick Fuentes to, like, fucking push him right in that direction. But all the rest of the stuff, I mean, like, I've told everyone before, a lot of this shit we all have programmed inside of us because, broadly speaking, society is sexist, homophobic, racist, all that kind of stuff, right? So we're always trying to deprogram the stuff and get better about it. And as you see culture change and try to adapt as well, people will push back against that. That's why you get so many people being like, oh, they're becoming woke. How is it woke? Oh, well, there was a main character who was black. It's like, that's okay. Well, there was also a woman main character too. That's also okay. No, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be totally fine. Yeah, there's still probably gonna be some white people in there. I promise you. There's probably some white dudes in the movie. Just wait for it. Yeah, see, told you. That a lot of white dudes. They popped up. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. You know, it's just maybe not every single movie should only have straight white cis dudes as the heroes, and then the hot, strong, muscular types, because there's other people that exist in the world. And it's not necessarily us trying to shit all over white people by not featuring every character as the white person. Because again, there's a lot of different people than just, you know, straight cis white dudes on the planet. There's gay ones too.
The leftists themselves feel that these groups are inferior. They would never admit to themselves that they have such feelings, but it is precisely because they do see the
No. God damn, no, I'm not like living a lie. I'm not like, well, deep in my heart, I know that women are inferior to me and then blah, blah. Honestly, the more I become or gone down this journey of like learning, reading theory, like fucking, you know, trying to understand gender theories, the history of feminism, the history of black feminism, and you go down all these fucking book rabbit holes, the more I'm starting to realize how goddamn fragile a lot of aspects of modern day masculinity are and how fragile men are. And that it's actually it's a massive tragedy because we've got this weird version where dudes have been raised and conditioned in such a way that it's deeply damaging to them. It doesn't allow them to actually be emotionally available or emotionally in tune with their own fucking selves, and they can't talk to anyone about it, so they're all in these fucking weird ass little cages and boxes of this hyper masculinity where they're looking for answers, and lo and behold, they'll find a Sneako online who's saying shit like this that kind of resonates because they've been, you know, raised in a lot of ways to be conditioned this way, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, maybe this person has the answers, when really it's like, it's deeply sad that you cannot even tell one of your best guy friends that you love him, or vice versa, and know and be affirming in both directions that is a real thing. That's tragic. That's sad. And there's a deep, profound fucking almost melancholy horror to the entire thing, especially because it's getting reinforced by these assholes. These same assholes who are going to do these videos who are just like, yeah, there are inferior women who are weaker and pretend to be weaker in order to control us and manipulate us. There are the repellent, disgusting deviants known as the homosexuals. And then there are the defeated people who we successfully genocided in, you know, the indigenous peoples. So that's basically the categories that the left asphyxiates and associates themselves with. And it's like, I see fragility of the highest order, especially my line of work, covering all this kind of shit, coming from white conservatives and also from men. They don't have to be white, but from men who are very, very big on reaffirming all of these traditional values. Yes, time and time again, it is a massive, massive cope. You can see it in the way that they act as soon as they leave their safe spaces. It's no longer a comfortable area. Like, look at every single one of these dudes, all these MGTOW fucking red pill dudes, when all of a sudden they're confronted about some of their beliefs, they just fucking melt. Andrew Tate's supposed to be the most dangerous man alive, and fucking a 25-minute conversation with Hassan, and he looked like an absolute clown bozo. You know, it was like 25 minutes into that. It was just like, you know, this dude is deeply unserious. They all are. And it's all to mask that insecurity that we all have. You see, here's the thing, like, even if you're aware of all this, you can still, like myself, you can still battle with that all the time as a dude, because we've been raised in this weird way where you obviously default to a lot of these settings all the time. It can be in a social setting where all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, this person seems like they're having a really bad time. I gotta help them. I gotta fix this. What do I do right now? How can we fix the situation? What can I do to help you? Don't worry, I will remain calm. I will not show any emotion in this moment. What can I do to you? Like, all this kind of stuff. It is deeply, deeply difficult to unpack on a regular basis. And the sad thing is they're gonna go down these holes because the alternative is not there in an adequate way for them to find that pipeline, where this is a fucking industry. It's a multi-level marketing industry that has so many players that are making so much money, and they have strategies that pull in people. Hey, do you want to get a bunch of viewers? What should we do? Why don't we get a whole bunch of hot women? Doing what? Well, we'll just give them lots of booze. We'll just get like a table of hot women, really hot women. We tell them, dress as hot as you want. You do whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to judge. Don't worry, baby. This is not blah, blah, blah. We're not going to slut shame. You dress as hot as you want. We want to see everything, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to give them tons and tons of liquor. And then we're just going to be really sexist to them for about 3 hours straight. And that's the show. That's it. It's like, wow. And that'll work. Oh yeah, that'll work. Oh yeah, no, people are gonna love this, you know? And honestly, we'll never lose, because if anyone actually starts speaking back and is actually like a proud, you know, strong, intelligent, very, very powerful woman, we'll either edit that out, or we'll just kind of ignore them and then try to turn everyone against them, do that whole thing. Or like, oh wow, she's a feminist, she thinks she's better than all of us, make fun of her, everybody, and everyone's gonna, loser, blah, get off the show. It'll make fucking tons of money.
These groups as inferior, that they identify with their
unless it's subscribing 90s MTV shows, yeah, that
problems.
Too.
Everything I said about Biden is true, you
Unabomber helped me understand why the Pokemanes of the world find power in victimizing themselves. Why people.
This is all deeply unserious because, like, you are trying to relate the philosophy of the Earth in relation to streamers. I mean, this is a very POV syndrome, Sneako. I feel this is the way you see the world, and I understand it because I too am a streamer. I sometimes have streamer brain. We all do. But I wouldn't make a grand thesis about the universe and then center streamers at the very middle of it.
People support pedophile politicians
main character
just
syndrome.
because their women are tan.
I hope you get banned off this whole platform, my guy.
Why there are so many identical.
I love how you're still doing this. Yeah, look at all the soy. Look at this. Look at all these soy individuals. You can tell by the cuckometer. They go from least to most cuck. At the very end, we got a veritable living cuck cage. Is that even a human, or is it a fucking cuck cage? Hard to tell. Fucking chastity belts, all of them. First off, okay, I just want to be the one to say this. All people are beautiful, all right? All the men and non-binary individuals you see before you in their own way are uniquely beautiful, yes. There are traditional forms of beauty that I'm sure people would point towards, but why would you include people who you also tried to idealize? Like, this is an amateur athlete, not pro, but was in the amateur leagues, Noah Samson. And this is Hassan Piker, the one who's always made fun of for being a himbo and a dreamboat, and like, aren't these supposed to be what men are supposed to be? I mean, if anything, this is a beautiful thing because, like, outside of the fact that it's pretty white, it shows you that there is a variety to both men and non-binary individuals and how they present and look, and in that there is not one size fits all for beauty. There are many varieties of it, but you just keep pointing to this photo and be like, boy. Well, if this is soy, then fuck, is everyone soy? Are we also, who amongst us has not soyed? Or is not soying right now?
Low testosterone streamers using leftism because of their white guilt. If a brainwashed incel could predict how retarded leftism would become alone in a cabin, what is the solution?
Bam.
Islam makes sense to me because in the mosque, race
Okay, so the greatest thing about both Andrew Tate and Sneako now turning to religion is that I've seen multiple both interviews and debates with them where a simple question is posed. And in this case, I think Destiny was the one who asked it to Sneako. It's like, what's your favorite verse from the Quran? What's your favorite line from the Quran? Okay, what's your favorite parable from the Quran? Oh, wait. As you can probably assume, there was no answer. As you can probably assume, there is no verse, parable, page, reference, because again, I don't know how much of it he has ingested at this point. But it's more of a, let's just say, it's more of a vibe than anything else. Now, I'm not here to take away anyone's own personal religious beliefs. Please, if you want to go practice religion, do so. If you want to turn religion into part of your brand and your marketing and part of why you try to, excavate money from people who watch you, well, I mean, that's you. That's your own personal decision. All that being said, I don't know if it's very genuine to say that, like, you have deeply theological answers based on a text that you intrinsically and have categorically understood in great detail.
This is not a part of the conversation like in Christianity, and especially...
Oh yeah, no, this happens all the time. It doesn't just happen to people who want to move towards, Allah. There are people who are born-again Christians, for example, who at one point or another, where we're super yikesy, did a ton of fucked up stuff, and then all of a sudden, like Vruz Roosh, or whatever that, he took the God pill. This was a dude who said that, like, rape should be legalized, and being like, there are legal cases and legal merits to rape and stuff like that. And now he's like, so I took the God pill, I'm super, like, Jesus-y now, and, I only walk in the light of the Lord, the Holy Ghost is moving through me, all this kind of stuff, and that's basically where I'm at,
Not with the ethno-religion of Judaism. A Jewish person can reject
the
existence of God.
I'm sorry to tell you, by the way, if you happen to hate Jewish people, but like all three monotheistic religions are pretty much a trilogy. They all build upon one another. It's very weird, but still be a Jew.
But still be a Jew. Hollywood consists of all these atheist Jews, but there's no such thing as an atheist Muslim. That doesn't make any sense. A Muslim simply...
What? I know, like, I have friends who are both Muslim and also kind of agnostic. Yeah. There are people who are religious who don't have to be orthodox or completely fucking ideologically driven with their religious beliefs. They can do it because they enjoy the ceremonies, they enjoy the family aspect, they enjoy going to temples, they enjoy the fact that it brings them closer to community, they can enjoy the charity that a lot of these organizations do. I mean, one of the great things that, members of the Sikh religion who have, immigrated in really large numbers from India here to Vancouver do is they do feeding programs. They will hold delicious meals where they feed as many people as they can, and that is the idea. Is that they have to be able to feed as many mouths as possible. Those are beautiful things that can come from the organizational structure of a religion. You can do all that without being like, well, we also want to dictate political policy and go after your kids, right? That's where I have massive problems with religion. I don't think that religion should have any place within society and that it should have special protections outside of, you shouldn't be able to discriminate against people for their religious beliefs because people do persecute each other for that. But I don't think they should have tax exemptions. I don't think they should have special exemptions. I don't think they should have, any kind of things like that. Absolutely not. I mean, these are, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know where I could draw a line, because where do you stop the definition of what could be considered religion? Are Mormons considered religion, considering it's newer than the big three monotheistic religions? Could Scientology be considered a religion? Could the Flying Spaghetti Monster eventually actually get certification as religion, right? Just, if you want to believe it, believe it.
He accepts that there's one creator. And culturally, it fixes all...
Well, Judaism is both an ethnicity and a religion.
All of the damage that feminism has done. Feminists are desperately anxious to prove that women are as strong and as capable as men. Clearly...
That's not it. It's not that they want to lift as many weights as possible. All right, ladies, let's do it. All right, can you eat all the raw meat like a man and then lift all the weights? Can you walk in there, get a whole bunch of weights, just like drop them on the floor, eat raw meat? You gonna eat raw meat like a dude? If you can do it, fucking feminism's real. If not, bruh, then I'm sorry, feminism failed. Eat that fucking raw meat.
They are nagged by a fear that women may not be as strong and as capable.
See, here's the thing. This is all, again, so deeply transparent about how insecure dudes are because we equate so much of our fucking worth with our physical strength. That is nonsense. You're never going to be the strongest man. There's only one. There's only one strongest man on the planet, all right? I say this as a dude who's like, I'm 6'2", all right? Like, I should be by definition. I'm like, well, this is like, you know, this is the archetype. He's a giant guy, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, no, it's so weird to think that your worth should be based on your physical strength. Guess what? There are women who could beat the ever-loving fuck out of me. Of course there are. There's very strong women. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't differences between, you know, women and men, especially when it comes to a whole bunch of differences in physical development and in relation to being able to participate in fights. But this idea that, like, overall, men are strong, women weak.
Clean up your room.
Like, that's just so weird. I was like, no, there's weak women, there's strong women, there's weak men, there's strong men. There's men who are super fit, there's men who are fucking morbidly obese and completely out of shape and in no way are ready for a fucking a fight, all that kind of shit. But why is our worth as men? I am man, I am strong, I have muscle, yes.
As men. Why else
Besides Sneako's a tiny little twink, what the fuck is he doing? You should be careful what you say. He'll challenge you to a fight. He's already done it to Moist Critical.
would an XQC have such a hard time arguing that women could drive cars as good as men?
You fucking. Sorry, no insults. That was just I got unhinged.
Not as good. They drive better. We have so much data on this. There's entire industries. Billions of dollars are on the line for insurance companies that want to insure cars and motor vehicle accidents. They study so thoroughly. The detectives of that shit can understand so much about a crash based on the tire tracks, the skid marks, the speed at which you were traveling, all this shit, the forensics for that kind of stuff. They know the deets and the stats, and they got them, and the numbers are in. Boys, I'm sorry to say, we are worse drivers. We take more risks, we speed more, we crash more, we get more accidents, we die more, we kill more. That's men. We are worse drivers. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right, boys. It's okay. We got some other things we can be standing up, you know? It's like, well, women can do that too. All right, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, you know? 2023, new age, I guess, right? Don't wanna get canceled here. Don't wanna get canceled here, you know, talking about that whole ideology or whatever you want to bring up here. But either way, you know, dudes, we'll be all right. We're gonna be okay. You know, we're still dominating in a lot of industries. I mean, you can say that it's illegal to pay men and women different salaries based on being in the exact same position, but I mean, we still do dominate a lot of industries in which it's really hard for women to even break through into those positions alone. You know, look at entertainment, media, engineering, fucking audio, a lot of that stuff. Yep. You know where women are catching up and actually beating men? STEM. Uh-oh, boys. Uh-oh. Yeah, ladies be crushing STEM. Well, you were like, ugh, my wife, she be shopping. It's like, no, she's really good at computer science and she's fucking get a really, really high paid salary when she's out of school. A lot of ladies are.
Because deep down, everyone knows men are stronger mentally and physically, but we
We're so, hey, even if I was to give you the physically thing, right, and I don't want to right now, but even if I was to give you that mentally, oof, men are not in a good way. You know, we just don't. We're not well equipped for a lot of the modern day problems that come along. Just because it's like, hey, by the way, did you know women talk to each other and open up about a lot of their emotions and the things they're going through, and then they kind of seek comfort in each other's company through that process? Oh, that sounds nice. Yeah, it does, eh? Yeah, it does. That sounds really nice. Oh. We've passed the boundaries of awkwardness between two men having a conversation, two straight men who are not intentionally going to be having any kind of sexual interaction. So at this point, we should probably, let's just say, ease tensions a bit. You like tits? Oh, bro. Tits. Hell yeah. Loves boobies. Yeah, bro. Yeah, boobies, eh? Yeah, boobies are fucking awesome.
ignore basic reality for feminist feelings. When an Aiden Ross says there are two genders, it's a culturally bold statement only when
No, it's a scientific and nonsense, and he's just saying it to be edgy, and it's not even fucking edgy. Can't even do edgy right anymore.
everybody else is playing pretend.
What the fuck?
Not for the cause of social justice, but for feelings of inferiority. It's clear
But see, that's the thing, is that all of this is coming from feelings of inferiority. I lose nothing by the existence of trans men existing. Like, The fact that right now there's a trans male boxer who's 3-0 who could start just fucking cleaning up in that fucking, he could dominate that weight class for a while now. The problem is that he's having a lot of trouble finding opponents because of transphobia, blah blah blah, and sexism also. Like, you know, the transphobic sexist, your trans misandry right there, where you're basically experiencing people who are like, oh, I don't want to fight that person because I think that they're a biological female and I don't want to lose to a biological female because if I lose to a girl, then I'm not a man. Men cannot lose to women. No, women are inferior mentally and physically. I mean, like, it really feels like there's a lot of feelings of inferiority going across the board here, you know? Again, I don't lose anything by the existence of trans men. If anything, it makes the fucking male experience infinitely more exciting and interesting and fucking complex and, like, goddamn. Why do we gotta live in this fucking medieval time?
Society's faults are not the leftist real motive for hating America in the West. He hates America in the West because they are strong and successful.
God damn. The military-industrial complex, the imperialism of the US, I gotta admit, kinda jealous. Kinda jealous, kinda really want to exploit the global south myself, you know? Kinda wish I got ahead of that. Kinda wish I staged some coups and set up a whole bunch of mining contracts for corporations that are able to extract all those precious resources for generations, and all these post-colonial fucking countries that have had to endure years and years of enslavement and other shit, now just selling off their resources to the highest bidder. Hi France, how you doing? You enjoying doing that still? No. That's not jealous. I wish that America used its vast wealth to help Americans. That's because I think if Americans had access to healthcare, if they had access to better living conditions, housing, stuff like that, they won't be as fucking scary to me. Because right now Americans are very scary to a lot of the world, by the way. A lot of the world watches what's happening in America. It's like, yeah, so there's about 4 mass shootings over the weekend, and a lot of people have guns, and because of the mass shootings, they got more scared, so they bought a lot more guns. But don't worry, they're making more guns. So there's more guns coming, even though they're buying all those guns. And people are very, very upset and angry. And old people right now, they're so confused that they're just like shooting people through their windows, especially if they happen to be black. They see a black person, they just open fire first and then ask questions later. And you're like, yeah, none of this seems healthy. I would rather that you all have access to as much resources as possible. I don't want that concentrated into the hands of the very few, as the hands of the very armed become more armed.
Today, every man that embodies strength and success faces scrutiny culturally, politically, and legally that we've never.
No, it's the opposite. Oh, goddamn. No, people, like, especially men in society, if you are successful, suddenly, like, especially if you're successful in capitalism, people just have a newfound respect for you. It's an aura about you. Oh, that's a real man there. Yes. Oh, no, he's a titan in his industry. Yeah, apparently he's going to be making fucking partner pretty soon. It's a catch. That's a catch, ladies. Sorry, he's taken. Yeah, no, he got himself a trophy wife, of course, because that's what he was supposed to do, right? He was supposed to be a man, he was supposed to be an earner, a provider, and he won at the game of capitalism, but also because women and their worth comes from their self-beauty, he found someone who's basically fucking, oof, we're talking influencer hot. Oh yeah, no, she's a smoke show. And that's basically the extent of what she is. She is a smoke show, and that's all he wants. He doesn't really want conversation or anything outside of, you know, the occasional sexual encounter, and then if she could just tan in the sun all day, mostly nude, that would be ideal. That would be ideal. No going to the bathroom now. Yeah, that's basically going to be their lives. They're living the rest life.
Before seen. In the East, masculinity is celebrated and encouraged, but in the West, even when just a streamer like Kai Cenat or iShowSpeed become accomplished, immediately the woke virus brings them back down. Kai Cenat starts dancing, and they say he's defending a rapist. Speed is in high.
Wait, what? That's not what happened.
High school, and they call him a rapist. Right in time for them to level up. His feelings of inferiority are so ingrained that he cannot.
What does that have to do with wokeness? How's wokeness canceling them? And last I checked, Kai Cenat is still fucking like the #1 streamer now after XQC left on Twitch, isn't he?
Conceive himself as individually strong and valuable. Hence the collectivism of the leftist. He can feel strong only as a member of a large organization or a mass movement with which he identifies himself. The reality is people will always need to attach their identity to something bigger than themselves.
You know what's so wild about all this is that, like, on paper, like that's like I would naturally gravitate towards a lot of the stuff that those people preach, such as like, you know, you have to be self-sufficient, you have to be able to like, you know, work on your own time. Like I think it has a lot to do with my ADHD, but I've always had a lot of trouble working for bosses, right? And in every industry that I've been in, I've been able to meet deadlines. I work really hard, all that kind of stuff, but I would way rather prefer to be able to just like creatively work for fucking like, you know, 18 hours a day, just doing whatever I wanted kind of shit, right? But I also appreciate the value in society just existing and working cooperatively together, and how there are examples where societies work a lot better and have better outcomes, and then there are societies where things are kind of ruthless, like in the United States, and they have the largest incarceration rate in the entire world. That's not freedom to me. I don't look at the United States and think, wow, fucking 1% of the population is in jail. Freedom. Disproportionately, black and brown people. Freedom. You know, disproportionately poor people. Freedom. Like, I'm not like, oh, fuck, that's amazing. I'm like, no, something seems fundamentally broken. And by the way, it's benefiting the ruling class, and you're upholding that shit. Like this entire, that's why I hate the MGTOW red pillars so much, because they sell all this stuff under the guise of like, yo, what we're doing here is that we're trying to make sure that you men can fulfill and become your best selves, lived your best lives, all right? You're gonna conquer, you're gonna dominate, you're going to be fucking stallions that mount the world. That's what you're all gonna become. If you buy my course, take my MLMs, you start advertising for me, get that fucking, you know, affiliate code, make sure you put the affiliate code in, then you get a cut of every single person who signs up for the course as well, make sure that they get indoctrinated. You start up a triage, we can say like it's a triangle of people who work underneath you, and they can all start filtering money up inside your upside down funnel, which will work out really good for everybody. Don't think of it as a triangle. And basically that's the whole way in order to defeat feminism, because if we don't, the West will fall.
The new religion is climate change and being gay.
Yes. Yes. It's true. It's true. He did get us. That is what the left wants. We want to end climate change and be gay.
That's why I believe genius IQ individuals like the Unabomber never find God.
So I don't even get, you didn't really explain the point outside of being like, he figured it out as an incel. That's his like thesis for this video. The Unabomber figured out the way the world works as an incel and the way it truly is. So that's why he's a fucking genius IQ and why I changed my opinions on it. He's a mass murderer. He's a mass murderer who had delusions of fucking robots taking over the planet and shit like that. The guy is not a fucking inspirational figure by any means.
See religion as a coping mechanism for normies who can't find morality themselves. Streamers like Destiny will look down at religion for being collectivists, but end up battling their own minds by worshiping the self instead of God.
There's nothing, I mean, like, it doesn't, I mean, it makes sense. Like, you're Islamic, like, you believe in conspiracy.
Notice the masochistic tendency of leftist tactics. Leftist
First off, he's not a leftist. And I'm not saying that to insult him. He would be the first person to be insulted if you called him a leftist. He's a very proud liberal.
Protest by lying down in front of vehicles. They intentionally provoke police or racists to abuse them.
What? It's what? Okay. All right. Yeah. So they're asking for it, I guess. Oh, you know, those Antifa, they want to be victims so bad they'll just, you know, provoke police to abuse them physically and sexually. It's what Antifa are always doing. It's part of their tactics. Don't fall for it, cops, all right? Maintain the line.
These tactics may often be effective, but many leftists use them not as a means to an end, but because they prefer masochistic tactics. Self-hatred is a leftist trait.
By the way, this is not just Sneako. This is a worldview, I guess, held by a lot of the right. Like, Tim Pool was saying similar shit. He's like, well, the problem is that, like, I think Lance would pretty much probably be a really nice guy in general, but he's part of this like this cult, and he's got this groupthink ideology because he's predisposed to being able to believe a lot of these ideas, and so they actually secretly hate themselves. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, I actually both love myself and a lot of the things around me. Like I absolutely adore. Who's not even there? Oh goddamn. I love Chico, even if he's not in the room with me right now. But yeah, no, I'm actually, I love myself. I love the people in my life. I love my partner. I love my dog. I'm actually quite content with that. You know what actually gives me anxiety, depression, and makes me like upset about the world sometimes is watching all of these motherfuckers for a living and then just seeing how their lies and fucking like, it's not even clever sometimes. It can be so fucking frustrating that it's just like, all you need to do is turn on a webcam and say whatever comes to your mind. And then all of a sudden it's like, you don't have any fucking, don't have to be fact checked, don't have anyone who questions you, don't have, like, not even your own audience wants to keep you in check. They just want wins. That's all that matters is fucking liberal tears, leftist tears. We gotta get those tears. It doesn't matter if Emma Vigeland doesn't actually believe in giving pornography to 10-year-olds. We'll tell everyone that she does. And we'll put that clip out of context, and then everyone will see it, and then it'll look like Emma Vigeland actually wants to give porn to 10-year-olds, and then that's enough. That's all I wanted. That's all we need. That's all we need, and then we just move on. And it's like, fucking hell. Like, to some of you, yeah, you're true believers, so this is just part of your movement, and the others, you're just fucking, you're so internet brained, you're so fucking irony brained, you're so 4chan brained, like Tim Pool, for example, that, like, he just thinks the whole thing is a lull for the keks, you know, the whole thing's fucking hilarious for the keks. At the end of the fucking day, his shit is gonna have real world consequences. If he keeps saying, like, well, they were holding a groomer event, yep, my friends, groomers. I told you this was gonna happen. Even if he doesn't believe it, it'll have the same effect. It'll have a whole bunch of fucking thousands and thousands of extremists who are fucking at the very tail end of the fucking radicalization pipeline, being like, oh shit, well, we have to do something. I have to activate. I have to tell the boys, the Knights of Odin have to know.
Remember, this was published 30 years before Black Lives Matter blew up police stations and climate change dorks ruin artistic masterpieces.
Did you not learn that they didn't actually ruin it because there was protective, like they didn't, the soup never actually got on the painting. That was the whole thing.
Back when Greta Thunberg's ideology was still being written by New World Order agents on Epstein's Island. Was a serial killer really able to debunk an entire ideology? If our society had no social problems at all, the leftists would have to invent problems in order to provide themselves with an excuse for making a fuss. If a deranged incel could predict the future of technology this easily, what else is in store? Formal regulations will tend increasingly to be replaced by psychological tools that make us want to do what the system requires of us. Propaganda, educational techniques, mental health programs.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Ugh. You know what's really scary about this though is that, like, the Sneakos and the Aiden Rosses, they're still big enough. They have big enough platforms. They're massive ass streamers. They will have a large percentage of fucking teenage boys that are now just like, they're going down this rabbit hole. Just like, giddy up. Giddy up. They're going to go down this fucking, we think that homosexuals are degenerates, perverted, disgusting creatures. We think that the genocide of indigenous people is acceptable and has already taken place and they lost, they're defeated. We think that women are weak and are the weaker sex, and because they're weak, they try to manipulate and control us. And we, like, you're furthering a whole bunch of all this toxic shit. Like, no one on the left is saying that we don't want men to exist anymore, that we want to eliminate the very idea of masculinity or being masculine. It's that we want to eliminate the shit parts. We just want to evolve. Not just for masculinity, for everything. For fucking economics, evolve beyond capitalism. We've seen the effects. We've been doing capitalism for a very long time. Are there alternatives to it? Are there better systems to it? Evolve beyond the way our government is restructured and how it actually deals and utilizes resources. Is there very high taxation for corporations and the very wealthy? Is that high taxation for the corporations and the very wealthy then put into social programs that directly reduce the amount of crime and suffering that happen on the streets, including the cost-tier healthcare system, which should also be a public healthcare system? There is countries that do that. Okay, do they do it well? They do, but a lot of it happens to be on the backs and shoulders of imperialism. Okay, well then let's fix that part. Is there ways to do it without having the remnants of imperialism that a lot of Scandinavia depends on, as well as a lot of dependence on the oil and energy sector that a lot of Scandinavia depends on, but still have a robust social structure that isn't xenophobic, but that can also pay for a whole bunch of social safety programs and have jails that don't actually result in really high recidivism rates, but actually result in people getting, say, the training and or medical help they need in order to become productive members of society, which is what we ultimately should all want. Should we not, right? At the end of the day, you don't even have to be an abolitionist to be like, what are your outcome goals? What do you want? What do you want there to have happen with the criminals in society, broadly speaking? And if it's like, I would like there to be less of them. Cool. All right. So what works? What works? Let's go with that one, you know? And also, Sneako was caught trying to pick up a 14-year-old while live streaming. With John Zerka, of all people. Yeah, almost forgot about that. John Zerka. A wild John Zerka appeared and was also hitting on the 14-year-old.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Dimmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.